What's going on, y'all? What's happening, family? Today I just got a strong warning I want to get off my chest that I received uh, through a dream I had. Now this ain't new for me because I received this a couple years ago, but I only told a couple people about it, so I'm gonna share it with you. Um, you know, it was a series of a couple of dreams that I had. So I'm gonna share with you the first one that kind of set everything off and why I believe that this summer is going to be a turning point. Um, that we're going to see some things, some shifting going on this summer, particularly with this country, I believe. But before that, like once again, I told you in my last video, if you get something from this video, make sure you share it. If not, then, just hold it to yourself. But only, if you get something, share, make sure you share this video. So a couple years ago, um, I received this word. And what makes this word unique is I had dreams before, but I never had. It wasn't. This really wasn't like a dream. But I was laying down, and I know I was in like a deep sleep or something like that. Um, but this wasn't necessarily a dream. But um, you know, I heard a very strong, authoritative voice that called for me. I was summoned, so to speak. And I remember there was like maybe like the servants of the voice, maybe like two angels was bringing me to the voice, and it was a very authoritative. I knew this voice carried authority, and I used to, when I first heard it, I was like, oh, this is God speaking. Um, but as I read through the Bible, I learned that God uses his angels. He gives his angels commands to, reach out and to give his word to particular individuals. And there's, two archangels. You got uh, Archangel Michael and the Archangel Gabriel. And Michael is the one that he's the in charge of uh, the fighting portion of the angels. He's the command over the fighting, the spiritual warfare. And Gabriel is the archangel over the communications. When he wanted, deliver a message, he was saying Gabriel. But when it was time to fight, he sent Michael. So with that being said, I believe, I believe I was summoned, and I believe this might have been Gabriel who had, was giving me this message. But before I give you the message, let me give you a little backdrop of where I was at in my life when I received this message. So like I say, this was a couple years ago. I had just started on my journey of prayer and reading the word, reading the Bible. I got my Bible with me right now, so I was just kind of going through a little bit. But I realized that I didn't have a prayer life. I didn't know how to pray. I realized I did not know how to pray. So that was my prayer. God, help me to learn how to pray. I want to learn how to pray to where I know I'm reaching you. And that's where it all started. I said that prayer, and then things began to open up. And this was right around the time when, after the movie The War Room came out. And I went to go see the movie. It was a very powerful movie. And near the end, where that prayer that the older lady was saying, near the end about the nations rising up and God's soldiers rising up, man, that just kind of inspired me. That just lifted me up in the spirit. But I realized that I did not know how to pray, because I know I didn't pray like that. So I knew I was like, and every time I prayed, it was repetition. It was like I was just saying the same thing over and over again. And it just didn't, I just knew wasn't feeling anything when I was praying. But anyways, I was walking through a store, something sort of like your big box store, that sell groceries, and they have like a book section. So I was walking through, and I was walking past the book section. And at this time, I'm not even a reader. I'm not even a reader like that. I haven't even begun to read the word like that quite yet. But I was walking past the book section, and that it was the book that was just standing out, like it was just sticking out, and it just drew my attention. And I went to it, and it was a book, that was kind of from the War Room, the Battle Plan of Prayer. And when I seen that, and I was just got off, my knees in prayer about I want to learn how to pray. And then here it is, the book called The Battle Plan of Prayer was right there, and it was like drawing me, and it was related to the movie, which inspired me. So those two connections, it just drew me to it. And then I picked it up, and I kind of skimmed through it, and I was like, yeah, this the book. So I grabbed the book, and I began to read it, and I began to implement the ways and strategies on how to pray. And I began to use that in my prayer. So I began to function in my prayers, in my prayer life, more effectively. And when I tell you, things began to change from that point on. Things begin to change from that point on. Prayer is real. It is your communication with God. Oh, excuse me. It is your communication with God. That's how you communicate with him. So you got to take that part serious, just like with any relationship, right? If you're going to have a relationship with God, you got to have communication. So just relate that to your everyday flesh relationship that you have, with your wife, or with your children, or with your parents. If you're not communicating, you really don't have much of a solid relationship, and But yeah, anyways, but that was the start of it, and I began to pray, and then I began to pick up the Bible, and I didn't know where to start. I always had, just open the Bible and just try to, pick up some pieces of here and there, just read, just to read, to be reading, to see what I could find out. But it never really, it was hard reading the Bible, because trying to get through all these theists and thouists and that type of language, that just is not how I was, speak. So it made it hard. Just a couple of verses was just like, man, wrecking my brain trying to figure out what it's trying to say. But then I discovered that there's other versions of the Bible that's not written like that. So I picked up an NIV Bible, and that Bible is translated in plain English. So once I started reading the NIV Bible, then things began to click and make sense, because it speaks like how we speak, and not with all the extras on the end of the words. So I wanted to start from the beginning, because I had this hunger, I had this passion to want to learn his word. So I went to the beginning. I started at the beginning of the Bible, and I just read all the way from Genesis through Revelations. I just read through the whole book. And when I tell you I could not put the book down, it was once you read the Bible that's understandable, and you have that hunger and that passion to want to know more about them, you can't help but to keep reading through. Like you ever read a good book and you just can't put it down? You find yourself all up at night, because it's story after story and it all connects. And man, the Bible is such a good book to read. And then I start seeing myself in it. It was like the stories was just like playing out. Like as I was reading, like I could visualize, I could see it. It was like it was taking me back in time. From Jump Street, from Genesis, if you just start reading through the book of Genesis and the stories that pop, you'd be like, what? They did what? Oh, wow, man, gee. And then, then you see how God reacted, man. This view of God we have is, man, that Old Testament God, boy, was something, was gangster. You understand me? He wasn't playing. My fear of him grew reading through that Old Testament, because to see how he dealt with the rebellion and just how he was just wiping people out, just like man, get out of here, man. Man, he wasn't playing. So but anyways, I rolled through the whole Bible, and then when I got to back to the story, when I got to the end of the Bible and I read it through, that's when I had this dream, or this deep sleep, where I felt like I was summoned, and the message came. And that message was, what was revealed to me was, nothing else is needed. A descendant of David will rule from the throne. And then he gave me 7 numbers, 7, 7, and 47, something like that. I should have wrote it down, but I'm pretty sure it was 7, 7, and 47. Because for some reason I want to say 7, 7, and 7, and that's what I was jumping to. But then it was like, no, 7, 7, 47. So, that part is still a little unclear. I've been reading in Daniel to try to clarify, and there is some connection with that numbers in the book of Daniel, 7, 7, and but the 47 is, I don't know, but somehow that mixed. So, but anyways, just I believe something about this summer is going to change. Something about this summer is going to happen. That's going to be revealed, and since we approaching up on this summertime, July, August, somewhere around that time, July or August, is somewhere around up in there, there's going to be, I believe there's going to be some type of, this is 2020 I'm talking about, July, August in 2020. So this is this is my belief that something's going to happen this summer. When I ain't even already talking about the pandemic that's going on now. I believe this is just the start of what's breaking it up. It's just breaking things down to what's really about to happen. So I just want to share that fair warning with you. If you not part of God's kingdom, if you don't have a relationship with Jesus, this is the time to get